About for y'all's next gig, right? Groove Adhesive here in studio, hanging out with us. So we had the opportunity to go hang out with you guys, really watch you perform, not too long ago. And we know Kevin, and then you came in and played drums.
That's right. Yeah.
Here at the church as well. So share with me, when did you start playing music? Was it always the drums? And how did we get here?
Sure. Well, it actually ties in nicely. I started playing the drums whenever my arms were long enough to bang on things. I'm sure my mother would agree that that's the truth. But there was a band that would play in church on Sunday mornings when I was growing up, and I'd always, how kids are, at 3-4 years old, drag your parents to that seat that's right next to the drummer and watch it. It's such a visual instrument. So really, as far back as I can remember, and church would have been the first thing that, I think a lot of drummers would say that's where you start to see a drummer and go, wow, that's cool, I want to do that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then
All the
step
way
2
back.
is going to Guitar Center, and you're able to play on anything and everything as loud as you want.
That's true. As a kid, you're not that picky. Pots and pans. I mean, you don't need to wait for Guitar Center. But yeah, got a drum set by, I think, 4th grade or so, and then it was off to the races from there.
Yeah, and jazz music is a bit different. Has it always been jazz for you?
It has. My grandfather passed before I was born, and my mother's idea was, I'm going to show my son all of his record collection, and that was all jazz records, Miles Davis and Dave Brubeck and Coltrane and those guys. So that was music to me at a very early age. So I kind of got there first and went from there to other things, which is a sort of a different way of going about it, but I think a good way of going about it.
And how long has Groove Adhesive, that's the name of the group, how
That's
long
right.
have you been playing together, and how long have y'all been doing this?
We came together as a group, as a present group, for about, let's say, April, I would say, April or May.
Yeah.
Yes,
I screwed it up. I got married late March, so I stalled it for a couple of weeks.
They had to
but yeah,
wait on you.
That's right.
Well,
They had to wait on her.
congratulations. That's
It's more
still very new.
Absolutely.
How has
Over
married
4
life been so far?
It's been great. It's been great. We say all the time the best part is we don't have to plan a wedding anymore. So that was a lot of work, but we had a great time, and now it's all fun and games.
Hey, that's a lot of work, isn't it?
It is. That was a full year of planning, and she did a lot more work than I did, obviously. But it was a great process. But we're glad to be on the other side.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've been married for 5 years now, and I'm trying to say this in the best way possible. It's like, I'm glad I don't have to do it again. But, she did all the planning. She did everything. But, man, it was stressful on me, and I did nothing. My job was to show up on time and just wear this. Like they picked it out for me and everything. But still, I'm just like, everybody's looking at me. Like, what's going on? Oh, man. But, it's great. So,
Absolutely.
Married life. And so you play the bass in Groove Adhesive. Can you share your name?
Correct.
And then, how long have you been playing?
Jelando Johnson, and I am the bassist and co-songwriter for Groove Adhesive. And I've been playing, I'd say I stopped counting after 20 years.
Yeah, it don't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Has it always been jazz music for you?
No. Actually, I didn't get into jazz until I got to Texas Southern University.
Okay.
Before that, I would listen. I didn't have a big record collection of jazz artists. I would mainly hear on the radio groups like Spiral Gyra and George Benson. When they was playing jazz on mainstream, they back in those days. But until then, it was whatever else came out of the radio, R&B and top 40 pop, even a little country, because I would go up to East Texas where my grandparents were from.
That's cool.
And so, and then I got hip to jazz, or I got bit by the jazz bug, I would say, once I got to college and started playing in the jazz ensemble. I did that, and I would need to listen to the music so I can be able to play it. And I got bit at that time, and listening to musicians like Miles and Thelonious Monk and Herbie Hancock. And then as a bass player, my favorite guys would be Paul Chambers, Ron Carter, people like that. And I would study those guys and really get into the music. They had a station there, and I would just they would let me come in and school me even more. After I get schooling with the jazz ensemble with my band director Howard Harris, I would get schooled even more at the radio station now. And so that was education in itself, and I've been loving jazz ever since. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all are all monster musicians. It's a 4-piece, correct?
Correct.
And can you kind of share, what instruments you have? Everybody, there was not really any switching. Everybody kind of had their instrument stayed in, locked in. Y'all have a set that's almost like an hour of all original music. Out of all the musicians in the band, all 4 of you guys, who is the most versatile in style? Like, because you were mentioning, hey, with the country music, I grew up playing R&B, and then the jazz. I know Kevin. Kevin's our good friend. Yeah. He's pretty versatile as well.
That's right.
The guitar player, he's a monster as well whenever you put that thing in his hands. So if y'all had to say, and I want to hear both of y'all's answers, who's the most versatile? Like, you put him in any situation, they can adapt.
Oh, wow. I mean, Kevin's the easy answer because he plays keyboard and bass and flute and God only knows what else. But I think one of the things that we were looking for and kind of how we got together was, we're all sort of Houston musicians, which means that we play everything. You play a little bit of Latin one night and some blues and R&B another night and some top 40 another night and straight ahead jazz another night. So I think we're all, we see that in each other. And that's sort of what makes the band what it is. You have a better answer than that?
He's gonna be like me.
Yeah, he's gonna
that's what I'd say.
him.
Like, it's me.
Well, I would say Kevin is definitely the multi-instrumentalist of the band.
He's not here. Y'all don't have to say Kevin.
But
it's tough.
But I think that actually we all play in different situations on any given weekend, and so I would have to say that we all can go from blues to R&B to country at the drop of a dime, and as musicians and full-time musicians, that's so very important.
Yeah. I see Ricardo Daniels tuning in. I know Ricardo, whenever we went and checked you guys out last time y'all played, we're talking to Groove Adhesive, that Ricardo was there. And Ricardo, he's a musician and has been doing it for a long time. Pro guy, setting up, doing it. And it's not easy. It's not easy to do that. Especially when you're married. You mentioned you just got married. Are you married? No. So it may be a little bit easier, but no, it's still not easy. Man, it takes a lot of time.
It does. It's
how do you balance?
It's still a task, and it does require some discipline and to be able to go from one extreme to the other. Good thing about it though is that we love what we do, and so we just do it. It's hard to explain. We just get into the groove and we just take care of what we need to do. We don't forget about the important stuff, but we just do what we have to do.
That's a cool sign. Look
go.
at that.
Is there a way to see it? Here on mine.
Hey, we got about a minute left, and then after that, we're going to go on the FM as well. We'll reintroduce you guys and kind of keep it going and having some fun.
Sounds good.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah, 55 seconds. I am interested, and y'all have to answer this now, but we were talking about, you were saying like the adhesive or the groove, but like just the name. And I'm always interested in like, how do y'all settle on the name? Whenever like one person has an idea, it's kind of like, okay, that's a good idea, but I feel like mine better. You know what I mean? And so like, how did y'all like narrow it down? Be like, everyone's like, oh, it's pretty cool.
But I think for both of us, the name kind of was there. The genesis of the band, I think, is sort of Josh first. He's the guitarist, wrote most of the original songs. All these songs are original, which I think is real important to us. And we have a few extras that we've added since Preamble the last time, so y'all need to come check that out. But as it started with his original material, I did a record with him back in 2013 with all of his tunes. And ever since then, I've been bugging him, hey, when are we going to do another sort of original project? Because that was so much fun. And I think Josh always just was, I'm busy, I'm doing other things, whatever. And then, as you know, Kevin started bugging him about, let's do some original stuff. And Kevin is persuasive and stubborn and talked him into it after a lot of persuading. So it came from those two getting together saying, we want to do some original material. Who do we want to play with? So they brought the two of us in, I think Groove Adhesive was already something Kevin been talking about before we got there, and I didn't have a better name. I think it is. We were talking about this on the car ride up here about one of the coolest things about live music and jazz music is that you have to listen to each other. You have to take what you're playing, connect it to what I'm playing in the moment, full speed. Hopefully with some interesting creative thoughts along the way. So that adhesive is really I think a good indicator of what we're doing, what we're trying to be. 4 guys playing creatively, but also really connected to each other.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So we got 15 seconds. We're gonna go on the FM right now and hang out. So we got a cool sign. Kurt, do you want to wait and show off the sign?
Yeah, we'll wait just a little bit.
Okay. Well, we're not going on the FM then right now. So I'm gonna put auto back on. Is that what you were saying?
No, I was saying we could go on the FM and then.
Oh no. Well, yeah.
Okay, cool. So Kelly, she's got to fix one thing here, but this is Kelly Williams. She has the show Riding the Wave with Angie and Kelly, which airs Monday afternoons at 3:00. But last week we hit 10,000 likes on Facebook. Eldridge, I don't know if I have a camera shot over there though. Here,
pull it up right here. Pull it up. Yeah, just Eldridge, and then face that way, and then just swap that one out. Where do you find sparkly poster board like that? That looks awesome.
Kelly, you can use this mic here. Maybe.
Lobby.
No, you can't.
Oh.
It's goofing. There's something with the settings, but I can hear you.
Awesome. Yeah, so she got
Hobby Lobby has it.
This is awesome. This is legit. Yeah, we broke 10,000 likes on Thursday. We're going to have to find a spot for this sign.
Is that real silver?
Yes, it is. I hand painted it.
And that's your thumb, right? Like you traced the outline of your thumb.
I did. I've got a very large hand.
So really fast before we go back on the FM here really fast and talk more Groove Adhesive, you guys have a really cool guest today, right? It's iCryo, right?
Really cool guest.
We cannot wait. And he has a brand new investor that's in cryotherapy that we're going to talk about today, and it's very cool what's happening.
That's
so
awesome.
We're excited.
I went and did cryotherapy once.
Awesome.
It was very cold.
It was cold. We had no idea this was happening, by the way, guys. We had no idea that this sign was coming in. This is kind of cool.
And I didn't want to interrupt, but I was excited I didn't get to celebrate with y'all last Friday.
Yeah. Well, we're excited too. Hey, so keep smashing the like button and sharing out this content so that way we can get to 50,000 by next month.
Yeah, and take a look at our new. Oh, that would be dope. But our new koozies. They have our faces on them.
This is legit.
Yeah. Yeah, so
that's what we need right there. There you go.
Y'all could have 2 on one, in the members, and then 2 on the other side.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, so these
I like
are
the face
from our
artwork there.
Kevin may try and make his face a little bit bigger than everybody else's.
It'll be him on one side, 3 on the other side. I have a feeling.
This is from our partners at Southern Sass Vinyl and More. So thank you to them. They brought these last Thursday.
Cool.
They brought a T-shirt as well, so it was kind of cool.
Awesome.
Did you see my picture, by the way, with your Got Tacos T-shirt?
No, I've been waiting to see y'all in your Got Tacos T-shirt.
I posted it with a picture of me in glasses and said, "When you love tacos but need to hang out in Austin." Because I looked like a hipster. I was being facetious. It's on the Talk of Taco group.
Oh, okay. I need to go see that.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's see. We got 50 seconds, and then we'll go on here. We have all these cool balloon animals in studio, so you really never know what's going to happen whenever you tune into KHEA. Right now, we're going to be chatting with Groove Adhesive about all of the original music that they have. We're going to be talking about, why jazz music. For me, jazz music's too hard. I'm not that good. It's like you got to be good to be able to play jazz music, and man, sometimes it's not comfortable. It's not easy for me. But yeah, I guess for you guys, man, y'all come together, you find some like-minded musicians, and you make some magic happen. So we got 15 seconds, and we'll go on here. Let's just go right now. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy.
And I'm Kurt.
It is 10:14, and we have Groove Adhesive in studio. We also have Kelly Williams, who brought us a really cool sign that's falling right now. It's a silver sign, and it's thanking everybody for liking our Facebook page. But yeah, Groove Adhesive is in studio. Guys, can you introduce yourselves and then share what you do in the group?
Sure. My name is Jordan Alms. I'm the drummer.
And I'm Jelando Johnson. I'm the bassist.
And y'all are playing like local places. I've seen y'all in Houston. I've seen y'all here in like the Webster area as well. And y'all are amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We play at Preamble Lounge every first and third Tuesday. It's right there in Webster, right off of 45. And then all over town in Houston. I think our next Houston show is at Natsuo, which is right there on Main Street in the heart of downtown. Trying to get a bunch of original music out in front of people.
How easy is it to write original jazz music?
It's not.
It's not. Yeah, that's a yes or no question. That's a no.
It's not. But it's enjoyable once you get your idea and you get contributions from the rest of the band.
So does somebody bring in like a riff or like a thought or a melody, or you kind of have a structure? What does it look like for you guys? Because y'all knocked out a lot of songs, and I'm going to say in not a lot of time. You know, if y'all were doing it in like April, kind of started, and now y'all have a record's worth of music ready to go.
Yeah, we filmed you guys the other day.
That's right.
And you guys did 7 songs, I believe, and they were all original songs.
That's right. And we've got we had one that we didn't do that night that we'd already had up, and a couple more. Actually, are gonna world debut. Is that a term? This
It is
Tuesday,
now.
we've got exactly a couple of new tunes. I think it depends on the song. I mean, a lot of times somebody will bring in a fully finished song with charts and the whole thing, and sometimes it's not quite that finished, and it's more of a collaborative process.
Yeah, whenever y'all write music, do y'all end up charting it out?
Yes.
Y'all do.
Right.
So-
because it helps us to always be on the same page, and then to have that plan in front of us. You know, we're able to make adjustments where we need to as well.
Yeah.
And not have to just rely on memory.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not that smart. So
Because there's a lot of notes.
There's a lot of, and the structure is complex, right? A lot of these songs will move from one time signature to another time signature. There'll be some hits. There'll be some. The first ending is weird, and then we go back to a second ending that goes to a different bridge that's in a totally different feel. Like Jolanda was saying, is you need to write that stuff down to have any prayer. After a couple of weeks or months of playing it, for sure we've got it all memorized and in our head. We don't use the charts anymore, but for that learning process, the first couple times, we're hanging on for dear life for sure.
Yeah. So switching time signatures. If somebody's not familiar what that means, they're listening on 99.5 FM or they're on Facebook watching this stream right now. That relies on you a lot, right?
Yeah, both of us. Drummers and bass players have a special kind of connection. We're responsible for all the hard work, and then the other
Everybody
guys
else,
just come in over the top.
they
and
get a
look
shine,
good. That's right.
right?
That's exactly
nobody
right.
knows who the drummer and bass players are.
If we accomplish nothing else, we're trying to make that point today on the radio.
You
You
guys
can
are
impress that upon your listeners.
like nobody knows who you are, but you guys are the foundation.
That's right.
There you go. That's the magic word, foundation. And we try to keep it as strong as possible because when the foundation is cracked, the whole building falls.
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes for all music, not just jazz, but is it even more important in jazz music?
Well, it is for this music.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think anything that's true of what the rhythm section has to accomplish in any style of music, in R&B or pop or rock, we have to do the same thing in jazz, where rhythmically everything has to be grooving, and you have to bob your head, and you have to actually have a pulse and something that lives in the music. But then, like you said, if technically it's also harder, then you got to accomplish all that groove stuff with all of the technical difficulty, and that's what the real challenge for us is, to be in a foot in both worlds at the same time.
Yeah, and it's not easy. If you had to say, if there's one thing or two things, or maybe there's a lot of things, but what makes jazz music? Like when is it considered jazz? What makes it that?
Saxophone.
It could be. That's what I'm saying.
That's
Like,
it.
what is it? But I don't agree.
Yeah.
It helps, maybe. I don't know.
You can have jazz with that.
But I think the thing about jazz is that it's based off of the writer's interpretation of whatever they're putting out there, and it's the listener, whatever they interpret that music to be, that's what it is. It's just up for whatever they feel it to be. There's no right or wrong answer as far as when you're listening and like, okay, what is this? What does this say to you?
Right.
Well, whatever it says to you, then that's what it is. And so jazz, the beauty of jazz, instrumental music or whatever, is that you get to write your own story. and paint your own picture.
I love that. You know, original like art, whether you're an artist or you're a chef like Chef Mary Bass, or you are a musician, you're creating something that nobody else in the world can do. You know, it's original music, and that's a big deal. You know, what does that mean to you, Jordan?
Oh God, that's the ultimate reason that we're doing this. You know, all of us play in more commercial bands, play for corporate top 40 bands, in a blues group, play here or there all over town. And the idea is to make a living, and that's important, you know, food and roof over your head. But I think we all see it as the highest form, the thing that we want to do the most musically is to create original music. And it doesn't pay the bills for the most part. So this is really a labor of love. I think that's the main thing when people come out to check out what we're doing in this band. This is what the music we really want to make, and this is the sort of artistically what we're hearing, the thing that we want to share with people. I think that comes through.
Yeah, whenever you get feedback from people, I mean, obviously, I guess positive feedback, or like you see people like jamming or like they're into it. How does that make you feel?
I mean, that's the best thing, right?
It really is. It's actually priceless.
That's probably the biggest compliment. You know, whether they say something or not. I saw a meme on Facebook, and it was like, it was this little kid, and they were making this like nasty face.
Oh,
and it was
you
like,
saw that.
This
Yeah.
is the best compliment that any musician can give to another musician. They don't have to say anything else, but they're just like, oh, that's nasty. And it's just like,
100%.
yes, it is. Thank you.
You know, one of the things that I love about music, and maybe you guys can talk about it a little bit too, is the other day, it was Saturday night, like I was at a concert, and a song came in my head as another band was playing. And I reached out to a buddy and I said, hey, do you remember that band? I don't remember the name, but I think they had this one song. And he's like, yeah, it was it. And so I downloaded the whole album on iTunes, and we were driving away from the concert. And I was literally, it's been 15 years, 16 years since I probably jammed to this band, right? But I could sing every single lyric of that song without hesitation at all. And I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, I haven't listened to this in 15, 16 years, and I can sing every lyric of every song. That's crazy.
Yeah, music hits you in a different way. It can pull back memories. It can pull back like all kinds of feelings, emotions, and specifically, what does jazz music mean to you guys? You know, like does that have that? Even like playing something, you're like, oh man, you know, I feel that. I remember the first time I heard this record or anything like that.
Sure. I think Jelana probably has a similar memory of when you're a kid, you're listening to records for the first time, and you know, you're listening to whatever your parents have in the house or wherever you get to go, and it's really your whole life. You know, you go through, and you know, what are you playing in middle school? What are you listening to in high school? What groups are you starting to play with high school and college? And then one of my favorite parts of living in a place like Houston is you get, you know, in one set we'll cover some Latin music, some blues music, some funk music, some rock music, some jazz music, and it's all over the place. And you like you said, it digs up memories of, oh, I remember when I had this concept, or when I learned about this, or when this idea came to me. And you kind of you live that full range of a musical life all the time, because you're picking up stuff. Oh man, I remember when I learned that when I was 9, or I remember when somebody just told me that a week ago. You know, it's always kind of churning that up inside you.
Yeah, one of the best pieces of advice I've ever got was from a music mentor, I guess, in my life. And they said, and actually there was a little article that came out, and they asked like, hey, what's a piece of advice that you have or something that you've taken with you? And it's like, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And that was said to me like in a music format, like just because you can play it, hey, doesn't mean you should do it. But the more I thought about it, that goes about everything in life. You know, there's a lot of decisions that you make. You know, even like with the band, I'm sure I'll had other opportunities. Like just because you can doesn't mean you always should. You know, pursue something. But as a jazz musician, it's different than like a pop musician or like even a worship musician. I don't even understand. Like, y'all are gonna have to share with me, like, how do you get that good to be able to play and pull this stuff off? How much practice goes into this?
It comes down to not how much practice, but the practice that you do. If you sit down to practice, you should get to the point. You should have some points where you're getting frustrated, you're ready to quit, ready to throw your instrument up against the wall.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Then you do it, and then you come back the next day.
But-
You're like,
but the point in all of that is that you're doing it to get better, and it may take an hour, it may take 5 hours, but you know you're not getting up the same as you was when you sat down to practice.
Yeah, stretch yourself, right?
You know, you have to challenge yourself, and that's focus practice, and it took a long time for me to get that. You know, a lot of times as musicians, you know, our egos, you know, we sit down and we just start doing stuff we can already do. That's not practice. You know, practice is when we are trying to figure out this one part that's giving us, you know,
Something you can't
HEAA
do. Yeah.
to learn. But the reward is actually figuring it out.
Yeah.
Getting it done, and then it also benefits the rest of you playing too. So that doing years and years of that is how you know, we just get better as musicians. Can continue to strive to get better. You never get there, but keep doing that. You know, that's how we get where we need to be.
Awesome. Hey, what's the goal for the band even in the next year? It's still a brand new band.
Sure. I think it's layers. When we got together initially, the first thing in our minds was we want to create a bunch of great original music, and it's really as simple as that. And now we've got at least an hour that you all saw, and then we're hoping to add a second hour for this Natsuo show coming up at the end of the month on the 23rd, I believe. So creating original music that we love is the first and primary goal. But after that, we'd love to do an album project. We'd love to get out of Houston and share some of this with either people San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Louisiana, or maybe nationally. We're trying to keep it open-ended and not limit ourselves. There's a lot of cool stuff that we can imagine trying to do, and we're not sort of limiting any of it right now, I think.
I feel like, okay, this might come as a weird question, but I think it'll maybe get at some good debate. But is jazz on the dying end a little bit? When you think of like things, you don't think of jazz. You think of like, at least maybe my generation, it's like EDM, techno, you know, stuff like that people are listening to. I don't know a bunch of people in my generation that are listening to jazz.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. You want to take that?
It is. I'll take a stab at that.
All right.
I think the thing that's happening is that jazz in one form, or let me say it like this, you go back to the masters, they've always been about pushing the music forward. And even Miles got to the point to where he didn't play his old stuff. He always played what was happening in the time. So he went from the straight ahead to the classic music of kind of blue to music sketches of Spain, and all the way up to Tutu and the Monolith, stuff like that. But the point is, he kept moving forward, and jazz is the masters intended it for the music to move forward. Unfortunately, people have associated music with museum music type of background kind of stuff, but not necessarily pushing it forward, reflecting the times that we're in right now.
Yeah, because there's like you think of smooth jazz, like easy listening, and you mentioned like, hey, that's what, you know, in the elevator. Sometimes people may correlate that with, oh, jazz is just background, you know, like background music, but it's not. You know, we went and watched y'all perform, it's original songs, and you're pushing the envelope for what jazz music is, you know, and like you said, the time signatures, man, you got to pay attention, and you can watch the same set 2 times and miss and pick up stuff that you didn't see the first time, because there's a lot of notes in there, and it's really easy when you hear the word jazz, if you're not a fan or grew up listening to it, to think like, well, I don't know jazz. I'm not a fan of jazz. But it's different. You can find something.
Yeah. I think it's language, too, at some level. When you talk about separating between what jazz is and then what museum music would be, and this is what Miles was great at, jazz is a way of communicating more than anything. So the exact language that you're using can be all over the place. You know, you look at somebody like Robert Glasper, who's using a lot of hip hop and R&B gospel chords and new stuff that he's creating, and that's jazz in every way. I was playing with a chicken picking kind of country Telecaster playing guitar player and a little, I guess it was a jazz trio, and that the sound sources there are totally different than anything that you would associate with jazz, but it's jazz where you have a form, you have a basic melody and harmonic structure, and then you're improvising and communicating with each other. So the media, the way of communicating is the jazz, and then what language you use, what kind of words, what kind of dialects you use could be just about anything you want. You can make jazz out of almost any kind of musical style you want.
When you say communicating, are you talking about the musicians communicating with each other, or you communicating to the listener?
Hopefully both. Right? I mean, if we're doing it right at all. I think when that's an interesting way of putting it, because when you're talking to each other, I'm talking to an expert this way, and you want to do some of that with the listener, but you also want to be able to reach anybody who maybe hasn't studied jazz for 20 years, and this very bizarre, random piece of music theory isn't going to totally impress them because they don't know what you're talking about. But you can reach them some other way. There's some other musical language that that you can communicate to them. So you're always trying to do both, I think.
Yeah, you see like memes and other stuff on social media where it's like somebody can play the most technically sound, like amazing thing, and then somebody picks up the guitar and they may play like Sweet Home Alabama, and everyone's like, oh, like I know that song, or like an EDM song comes on and it's like all programmed music. A lot of these producers, they probably are talented and they know like notes and the theory behind it. Or I've also seen, I'm not going to say one, but I saw like there's a thing called like Masterclass, and it showed up sponsored on my page, and it was like he's like, I don't really know.
I'll check that out, yeah.
I don't really know what this is, but it sounds like, pretty much he was saying like it sounds good. How does it make you feel whenever you see stuff like that?
I think at some level, if it sounds good, that's a really good start. Even in a super technical world like jazz, if it sounds great, I mean, Miles would think that's a good idea. But it is a little frustrating that you want them to push it a little further and get it a little beyond just the simple palette maybe that they have. And the jazz world is so much bigger than that. I mean, I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, Kurt, how does it make you feel whenever a DJ does that build up, like and then
it feels great. I love it.
There you go.
It just built something in my heart.
Would y'all ever incorporate any of that, like even like programming, or is it like no, that's too much?
I want you guys
to check
do
with Kevin first, right?
I want to see the groove adhesive.
That could maybe be like an intro for a video or something.
We'll use the balloons for that for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just a little with him with the saxophone, one hand, balloon in the other.
Yeah, Kevin's a great guy.
That.
He has y'all probably know his background better than I do, but he's played on, very, very versatile, and he can pick up an instrument and be like, oh, I don't play this. And then he starts to play it. I'm like,
it's annoying, yeah.
You just said you didn't play that. Like, what are you doing right now? But
he can't sing though.
Show off.
That's something that makes me happy.
Yeah, one day he's gonna sing though, and he's gonna be
he's
great.
Gonna hear this, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys don't have any vocals.
Not yet.
Are you auditioning? Because I got great vocals. I
think so right now it's a 4-piece. We're actually adding a percussionist and a trumpet player who also plays keys on this Tuesday at Preamble.
Cool.
7:30 to 10. I was told to say that. And seeing how the group works as a 6-piece as well. I think it'll evolve. It's always going to be sort of a 4-piece in theory, but we're curious to see what other different kinds of sounds and people will affect the music. Vocalists could happen for sure.
How can somebody just come in? I guess they have the sheet music they have to look at, because somebody can't just go up, and maybe percussionists probably not. There's so many different hits and time switches and stuff. You just can't just like sit in, like, oh, I'm gonna sit in. I mean, maybe if you're great enough, then you could, but it would be very difficult.
Yeah, we've definitely had a rehearsal.
Okay, good.
We're not gonna pretend otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay, can you make it 7-person, and then I'll learn the jazz flute.
Kevin will give you a run for your money on the flute too. That's the scary thing.
Well, I've watched Anchorman, and I've seen how he can use the jazz flute, and I've imitated all of it. So we just need that one song. I mean, I can play inside of a water glass. I mean, I got it all for you.
Speaking of another Will Ferrell movie. It's Talladega Nights. Whenever they're over by the jukebox, and he's like, you got the dude who drives the Perrier, car. He's like, why did you stop the jukebox? Did you not like the jazz music? Whenever I think of jazz music, that scene comes to mind.
Sure.
Can you do that again?
I will come in. I've never seen it.
He's practiced that. I can tell you that one. That was not the first time.
Gardy just drops like any soundbite from that movie. It's like one of his favorite movies, right?
Want to go fast?
It's not it's not one of my favorite movies. It's a good movie. It's not one of my favorite movies, but it's a great movie. Right now it's 10:35. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. Hey, and I have to point out this comment that was made by Crystal, directed at you. Shout out to Crystal.
Why?
She went and watched you guys at Groove Adhesive.
I've seen you guys perform too.
She said, I love jazz, and I'm younger than you, Kurt. So I think that was directed at your,
comment that my generation?
Yeah, first of all, you don't represent an entire generation. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that.
This is my generation.
Possession.
Yeah.
One other thing, I have a question. Okay, and you guys do music. I don't play. I used to play piano. I was a world-class piano player.
Of course.
But I don't play.
We'll go along.
Okay, so I went to a concert on Saturday night, and it was an interesting concert. First of all, it was a punk concert in the middle of an art gallery, and it was really super loud. But between every single song, they were tuning their guitar, and I've never seen that in any concert that I've ever been to, where they were making adjustments, and they had a little device on their pedal board that they would it would show a D, and they would strum the D until they got it right. And I'm like, you just tuned this last song. Did you really knock it out of tune in a song?
And then he texted me and was like, if they have a capo on there, it's going to hold it in tune. And I was like, Kurt, a capo?
No. I just said they were using a capo. Is that why they were changing the tune of the guitar? I don't know how this all works.
It could be
I don't
alternate
either.
tunings.
That's
plugged into the tuner and the board, and they just stepped on it. And actually, you didn't hear him. You didn't hear it, right?
Right.
You just saw them tuning
it, and they were talking to him guys, I really like being in Houston right now, and you guys are pretty amazing. Thank you for being in here in this crowd, and
Kurt,
I really love this.
It's important to be in tune. It's important.
But how do you go out of tune between songs? It was literally every song in every band was doing it.
They may not be out of tune. They're just checking to make sure they stay in tune.
Or it's an alternate tuning. Some songs have alternate tunings.
Okay. I was just asking. I've never seen that before, but I was really blown away by it. And then their commentary was hilarious. It was so funny.
Yeah, well.
I was kind of disappointed I will say, I was not disappointed when I went and saw Groove Adhesive. I was really disappointed at the end of this concert because the guy was like, hey, we got 2 more songs going up. We're really excited. Or it was more like, we got 2 more songs and we're really excited to be here. And yeah, it'll be great. But anyways, they did the one song and they're like, all right, thank you. And I was like, wait, you just said you had 2 more songs. What happened? What? And everyone's like, well, that was lame, and walked away.
Maybe
usually
their time
it's the other way
got cut
around, right? Usually you do one more, and then you do the encore after that. Usually you don't cut one.
None of them did an encore. It was weird.
Yeah.
Encores are for national touring bands, playing Toyota Center. That's where that's a real encore. If you're playing an art gallery, in Houston, that's probably not the spot.
You guys know who Owl City is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I bought tickets. This was 2010, 2009. I bought tickets for an Owl City concert before they were big. So it was a $10
That's
ticket.
the hipster move right there.
Right?
He does that stuff all the time. I'm
Throw
Kurt,
that
you're
in
still
there.
not cool. You're still not cool.
But anyways, okay.
It's
So
he's
Owl
gonna be saying
City,
about
man.
us
It's
when we get
Owl
big, right?
City.
I realized that.
No.
But I bought the tickets, right? And then all of a sudden, I was just like, oh, this will be cool. It's a really cheap ticket, whatnot. And ended up going to the concert. They had just dropped, it just went big. That song went huge. And they played their entire concert and didn't play the song. And they used it as their encore song. That was a little oh, come on.
Presumptuous, right?
Right.
There you go.
You the crowd is going to be mad if you don't play that one song. And then all of a sudden, that's what you do for your encore. It was just too cheesy for me. It made me really tune off on Owl City as
You're
a band.
talking about cheesy, and it's Owl City.
I'm just saying, there are things that bands do sometimes that just don't make me happy.
Well, I guess y'all need to be taking notes. So there
Here, there's a pad right there if you want to jot them down.
The most I got from that was, this is our new sales pitches. Don't go to another show. That's going to be disappointing. Just go to Groove Adhesive. That's
There
what
it
he's
is.
really trying
Take
to say.
that soundbite over
There you
and
go.
over and over.
Hey.
Just play it.
Clip that up and send that to us.
So, with Groove Adhesive, how can people find y'all on the internet, and is there any way to listen to the music?
GrooveAdhesive.com, at Groove Adhesive on Instagram. Got a Facebook page. Like and follow us there.
And on YouTube.
YouTube as well, huh?
There's a page on YouTube with all the videos and everything you need to know about Groove Adhesive.
Yeah, y'all did a live recording, audio, video, whenever we went and saw you guys last. I was asking Kevin, before, I was like, y'all are doing that yourselves? And we're like, yeah, we do, audio engineering and this other stuff. So we're able to do that. And I said, are y'all going to be able, is it just 100% live? Like, you're going to touch up anything? He's like, well, let me ask you guys, did y'all have to touch up anything?
No, I mean, maybe we should have, but we didn't.
That's what he told me. And I was like, are you sure? I was like, I didn't hear anything. And even if there's so many notes, though. That's the thing.
Well, I'm sure there's some things that each of us would like to have done better, but wasn't a train wreck.
No, it wasn't. It sounded perfect to me. It sounded perfect.
And so, and we use that to build upon for the next audio or video presentation we do. We go back and we listen and see hear the things that we would like to do better the next time.
Is it important to do that? Like, review those performances and see this is what could be better, or save time, or could be drawn out?
Yeah, I think just even, as an ensemble for sure, but even in individual practicing, we're talking about, how to practice earlier, and recording yourself and listening back is crucially important. Your brain is busy when you're playing, so you really don't quite know what you're doing as you're playing. Listening back can always give you a lot more insight, a lot more clarity in what it really sounded like, and how it glued together. It's a big part of writing as well. With a new tune, if we're working something out, working an idea out, we'll play it and then listen back to it, and that part worked really well. This part probably needs to get fixed or changed, or something needs to happen.
Yeah,
that's just part of the process.
Do y'all have any other groups y'all been a part of that have some recordings out where people can go listen to them?
Well, I'm also a recording artist, and I have music out as well, and it's on my website, JalandoJohnson.com. I released a debut EP back in 2016, and then also did a single in this year. And so that's
what is that
for me.
Bless you, Kurt.
Thank you. Sorry, that just came out of nowhere.
What style of music is that?
It's all original. I did do 2 covers, but I spruced it up, kind of did it my way on the EP. But it's a cross between contemporary jazz and instrumental funk.
Okay, cool. Ooh. So is there any vocals on it, or no, just an instrumental as well?
All instrumental.
That's awesome. Cool. Do you have anything out?
Not currently. I've been recorded a little bit with a guitarist named Kelly Doyle. Some really good stuff. Played with Now We Fly. Actually, Josh was in that band as well a couple of years ago. But I think all of us have been trying to do different original projects.
Yeah.
Whenever we can. It's part of what kind of makes us all on the same page about how important this music is to us.
Yeah, Kelly Doyle, he's really good. He plays with Robert Ellis.
That's right.
And the boys.
Yeah.
From
With
Lake
him
Jackson,
on Wednesday.
Texas.
Yeah.
Man, Robert, he just came out with a new album, which I can't really talk about too much, but man, he has this song called like Topo Chico and Lime. Have you listened to any of his album?
I absolutely have. Robert's great. I met Kelly through Robert. And then, I've done a lot of work with Kelly recently with Will Story on bass. He's the Telecaster guitarist I was talking about before. He's insanely creative. I think that's one of the things that we all value more. In the jazz world, it's really hard to be technically good, but it's almost harder to have a voice on the instrument to be really cool in how creative you are. And Kelly's one of those guys for sure. So.
Yeah. Cool. It's 10:44. We're talking to Groove Adhesive. I have a question. So, are there any other local groups, jazz or not, that are out of Houston, out of our area, that y'all look forward to playing with, or like, oh, enjoy watching, or just kind of like rooting for being in the same, area?
I think there are a couple. I know Glenn Ackerman has the Glen East Interplanet that we played with them at Natsu a month ago. There are a handful of other groups, but one of the things that's been a frustration for all of us is Houston's not as much of an original live music scene as we would wish that it was. I think people don't understand how many great musicians there are in Houston. Houston's one of the best places in the world for just exceptional musicians. And there aren't as many live original groups playing around town as I wish there would be. So that's a big part of what we're trying to do with this group is not just write and record and pat ourselves on the back, but get this music in front of people here and try to convert people to how cool live music is. I think that's a big part of it.
That's really important. It's just not good with all the talent for so many people, and there's a lot of people with original music that they recorded, that they work on. Unfortunately, the venues, they would rather you play
The top 40
and covers,
stuff,
and then if you're lucky, you could sneak in one of your originals.
Yeah.
But that doesn't. Nobody's coming to hear that.
Right.
They're coming to hear you play what they know, what the people know, and the venues count on that. So those are the things that we go up against as we are getting the original music out there, And but I guess they say every move will start with one step, one person, in this case, 4 people, But we would love to change the narrative of that and make Houston more of an original music city,
Yeah. Growing up in this area, there was a lot of the thought thrown around. If you want to make it in music, you got to get out. Like, you got to go to Nashville, you got to go to LA, New York, anywhere but here,
Sure.
Is that something you all experienced? And I guess I didn't ask, are y'all from this area? Where y'all from?
Well, I'm a native Houstonian.
Yeah, I grew up in New York, so I guess I went backwards. A lot of great New York players and LA players, for that matter. Some of the guys that are really making an impact in the music more nationally are, either HSPVA products or from here. There's a huge Houston influence on music right now, and it's like you said, it goes that direction. It doesn't come back here. I guess I'm the one that got away, but we would love to make it more of Houston musicians that stay are also creating music that matters, that gets out and shows people kind of what Houston is about. Because Houston is such a remarkable city, one of the most diverse musical cities that I've ever been around. A typical week, you'll go to the Monday Latin Jazz Jam session. There's guys from Cuba and Venezuela and Colombia and Chile, and then you go to somewhere on Tuesday and see a straight ahead jazz band play, and then Wednesday it's a country group, and then Thursday you go to the Big Easy and see blues and R&B and guys that played with B.B. King, and you do a top 40 gig on Saturday and a church gig. There's gospel and contemporary Christian rock and all sorts of cool stuff in that idiom as well. It's such an incredible city that way. There's so much music of quality. That it'd be great to have Houstonians value that more and then share it with the rest of the country as well.
And here's one thing that I've seen that I've been seeing at Preamble, and that I've seen in the past, is that when you present your music, well rehearsed, put together, people will accept it. Yeah. They will, because they will enjoy it. If when you make it, do it with excellence, I would say. People will take to it.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things, before I moved here to Texas, I lived in Vermont for a couple of years, and I loved Friday nights listening to bands, and if they were a good band, I enjoyed that kind of stuff. And it's hard to kind of find that here in the Houston area. It's, hey, let's have a DJ. Let's have, it's hard pressed to find a location where it's clean, and it's a live band that's fun.
Yeah.
So I want to ask this, and it's on your influences kind of, but if there was like one record that you could only listen to for the rest of your life, what record would that be? It doesn't have to be jazz. It could be jazz. It could be anything. Like, what has influenced you the most where you're like, you know what, this is the one thing that I will take with me and I'll be happy. You're on a desert island.
Oh, wow. I mean, I'm sure Jelana has the same answer. The whole reason we picked the instrument we have is so we can play all sorts of stuff. Like maybe Thrust by Herbie. That's a tough question.
And then I want you to guess what the other two guys, like if Kevin could only have one record or you were like forced him to listen to one record for your own reasons, like this is the one you have to listen to. And then for your guitarist
on
as
which
well.
instrument for Kevin, yeah.
Kevin's would be Groove Adhesive. He's like myself.
That's right. He really likes
like
his
one record.
solos for the most part. You got a record?
That's tough. You had to get back to me on that one.
That's fine. That's
He's
fine.
gonna punt the question.
Yeah, but if there was one for Kevin, if y'all had to guess, is there something that he had?
For Kevin.
Or y'all forced him to listen to, maybe even against his will?
I guess it's Kenny G.
Kenny G, there you go.
That's his favorite.
I love it.
Anything by Kenny G. Force the movies. Yeah.
Does Kevin
That's a jazz joke for y'all out there.
We never talked about the shoes yet. Can we talk about the shoes?
We haven't.
Kevin told me about some like a question dealing with like green shoes.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, your green shoes in the photo shoot?
You can check that out on the video on our YouTube channel. It was a band that Josh and I played with, the guitarist and I played with a long time ago. And the band leader thought it would be a cool idea for everybody to get Puma shoes, which seemed cool. So everybody went out, and it was supposed to be some big part of our branding and how cool we were and hipster we were. And so everybody went out and got a pair of black and white Pumas. And I didn't get the memo.
You just said Pumas, yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to get the same pair everybody else does. So I got a bright green pair of Puma shoes. So I wear them from time to time to mess with Josh. And they're great. They're comfortable, but they're very green, as y'all can attest to.
They stood out in the photo shoot.
They did for sure.
A little subtle, just like
That's Jordan.
There you go.
As
There you
the
go.
drummer, you have to do something.
Like we were talking about that before. We're
I'm
stuck in
here.
the background. We got
I'm here behind everybody.
desperate
Hello.
attempts for attention.
Desperate times, desperate measures. Hey,
Desperate
there's nothing
measures.
wrong with
There
that.
you go.
You know, when it comes to looking uniform in a band, making sure y'all all like do flow together, that is important. You know, it's not the most important thing. Like I would say the notes are, but whenever somebody looks, you know, there's judgments made in their head and kind of, does this work? Right? And so you kind of have to plan.
Yeah, it's like we were talking before. It's communication. It's language. So everything you do is communicating some part of the experience. You know, what kind of style are you going for? What kind of this is a group that's together rather than just four people standing up there. You know, all that stuff matters.
Yeah, you know, playing music. Like with the band that I had before, we've done stuff where it's like, hey, everybody wear basketball jerseys, and it makes you stand out. It's something that at least if people are busy, I mean, trust me, it'll work. If you show up to Preamble and y'all are wearing basketball jerseys, first of all, everybody's watching already. But if there was like a video, people are like, what's going on? Because we had people stop and watch us just for that, and they're like, oh, I like this, or you know, we would do little stuff like random stuff like that. But it was. It's something you kind of have to plan in advance, and it may sound cheesy if you are not familiar with that, but it does work, and it's not like a straight up. I don't know. It's fun though.
I've been waiting to ask this question. I know we got like 6 minutes left, so this is probably the most important question. Who's the better bass player, Gardy or you?
Oh, 100%. This guy. See, like that's what I was saying at the beginning. Like, how do you get that good? I was over here taking notes. I'm going to go back and watch. You apparently have to practice for forever. Dude, no, I can't play that stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, okay.
I can look at the notes and I'll be like, I don't know what this is. Like, no, I can't. It's too many notes.
Dang. That was a humble response. I would definitely, even if he was better, I'd be like, I'm the better. right now, I'm a better drummer than he is. Hands down. I've never even touched the drums.
I haven't heard you. I mean, it's entirely possible.
There was one time I played the drums. Do you remember out here when you guys were practicing? I was pretty good.
Yeah, no. He's a world-class piano player by his own accord.
Yeah, Yeah, quite the
He's,
resume that I'm jotting down over here.
Listen, I went to Europe to sing. Like, come on.
Okay,
I traveled the country. Let's go.
he's not good. It's real bad.
Dang! My grandma says I'm a great singer.
That is true. We did call her one time, and she was like, "You're the best." And I was like, "Okay, yeah,
man.
it's getting tough. It's getting tough."
Desperate
in here.
times. You got.
Yeah.
Desperate times. Wow.
We're hanging out with Groove Adhesive. Y'all play, regularly at Preamble, and then
First and third Tuesdays.
and then at Natsuo's. And is there anywhere else y'all are playing?
Yeah, we've played at KHEA, played around town. We're probably hoping to get a Saison show coming up. Natsuo is the next big one in town. That's August 23rd, 10 to 12:30. Like I said, the Preamble one is 7:30 to 10 every first and third Tuesdays. And we'll have more coming in the near term.
And that's our goal, is to play around town as much as possible. Play our original music and let the people know that we're here.
Yeah. And how can they check y'all out again? On the website, on Facebook? How do they find that?
GrooveAdhesive.com, and that's GROOVE adhesive ADHESIVE.com. At Groove Adhesive on Instagram and Twitter, and also a Facebook page on Groove Adhesive. Tell you everything you need to know about this group.
Awesome. Is there anything else y'all would like to share while y'all are here?
Oh, besides telling Kevin stories and while he's not here.
Does he
He's
ever
watching.
brag about like the awards that he has? He's like, guys, we're doing it this way because look.
Yeah,
He's
no?
nominated for a Grammy. You may have heard of that.
We
Like,
were
I'm a Grammy?
we were chatting the other day, and he was mentioning that on the radio hit we're going to need to mention all the awards we've won, and I was like, I don't know if I've won any awards. He's like, oh, I was talking about my awards. So
He straight up said that?
absolutely.
Kevin.
Oh, he did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's watching right now on Facebook.
That's right. Helpless, dude.
He's
Can't say
holding
anything.
it up. He's like, guys, mention my trophy.
So he's a teacher, full time. He's
That's a
teaching.
scary thought, right?
Teaching music. Is there something else that y'all full time musicians as well, or do y'all have to do other stuff and juggle life and be able to play?
Yeah, I am myself. I refer to myself as a musicpreneur, and that is I do
I like that.
everything. I do everything I can to make money making music.
I'll write that down.
I like it.
That's about the same.
Whether that's recording somebody else, lessons,
Yeah,
gigs,
teaching,
Right.
session playing, corporate top 40 gigs. It's really you play. You're so blessed to be able to play music. Even the gigs that sound like work are super fun. You get to play with world-class musicians all the time. So just a lot of it's a hustle to allow us to do this kind of stuff. So
Is it always easy?
No.
No, one of the things that's when you're trying to be a professional musician, suddenly your per hour matters. Like in any job, so you don't have the luxury of doing 5 rehearsals for one gig. You gotta send the charts out. I remember when I played with y'all, you got 5 charts and 5 MP3s, and knock yourself out. Like, show up prepared. That's the normal way that this business goes. So on the one hand, that's great because you don't have to spend as much time just slogging away in rehearsal. But on the other hand, it presents a lot of unique challenges where you're up there on stage and you don't know what's going to happen. So
Gotta
I'm
be
sure
prepared.
Joanna has stories like that as well.
Is there any? I don't know if you want to share, but is there anything embarrassing that's happened on stage where it's like, hey, I'm filling in, or a one-time guest, just an interesting story, not necessarily embarrassing, where hey, things are switching up. I've never seen this before. On the fly, it's people you're not used to. You don't get the look or anything like that. I'm sure that happens in all kinds of situations.
It does happen. It does happen. Too many instances to remember.
I feel you. Hey, we're out of time. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Indeed, we've enjoyed it.
Go to grooveadhesive.com to learn more, and then check them out on Facebook. Search Groove Adhesive. Smash the like button, and then follow and check them out in concert.
Yeah, check out those videos that Gardy and I
Y'all
created.
did. Yeah.
You did a great job.
You can see yourselves in some of those videos. You got some of the cross shots.
He strategically placed himself in.
That's correct. That's a smart.
They just didn't know that I was actually playing too.
He's
And holding the
singing in
camera.
all the videos too. So check that out.
if you listen close
Yeah,
enough
you
and
gotta-
turn up the audio really loud, you can hear
I was
him
just
humming,
making up my own lyrics.
playing, making flute sounds like
That's
he's
right.
Will Ferrell in Anchorman. Yeah. So, hey, y'all be blessed. Have a good day. Tomorrow we are going to be back and have another awesome show. It's Monday. Do something positive. Have some fun.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to have Dr. Aaron Chapa and then also Texas Performance Powder Coating, which is located in Texas City. They dress up some cars, which is pretty awesome.
I'm going to get some powder coated.
Woo!
I don't know what. Maybe my baseball bat. Put some shine on that thing. Oh, man, that'd be nice. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Coming up next is Stars Go Dim, Heaven on Earth. Bye, Facebook. We'll see you guys.